Creation myths of Dogon tribes. All origin stories begin with gods who came from the sky, created humans, then left promising to return one day. They go by various names and descriptions often linked to ancient aliens. There seems to be a pattern with all of this found in oral traditions, petroglyphs, ceramics and other art forms, ancient star maps, and other artifacts. Most myths depict gods meeting with primitive humans, their agendas varying. The precise origin of the Dogon, like those of many other ancient cultures, is linked to the Namo. Their civilization emerged, in much the same manner as most ancient civilizations. Because of these inexact and incomplete sources, there are a number of different versions of the Dogon's origin myths as well as differing accounts of how they got from their ancestral homelands to the Bandiagra region. The people call themselves Dogon or Dogam, but in the older literature they are most often called Hob, a Fulbe word meaning stranger or pagan. The religious beliefs of the Dogon are enormously complex and knowledge of them varies greatly within Dogon society. Dogon religion is defined primarily through the worship of the ancestors and the spirits whom they encountered as they slowly migrated from their obscure ancestral homelands to the Bandiagra cliffs. They were called the Namo. The Namo are ancestral spirits, sometimes referred to as deities, worshipped by the Dogon people of Mali. The word Namos is derived from a Dogon word meaning to make one drink. The Namos are usually described as amphibious, hermaphroditic, fish-like creatures. Folk art depictions of the Namos show creatures with humanoid upper torsos, legs, feet, and a fish-like lower torso and tail. The Namos are also referred to as masters of the water, the monitors, and the teachers. Namo can be a proper name of an individual, or can refer to the group of spirits as a whole. The Namo are ancestral spirits, sometimes referred to as deities, worshipped by the Dogon tribe of Mali. The word Namos is derived from a Dogon word meaning, to make one drink. They are usually described as amphibious, hermaphroditic, fish-like creatures. Folk art depictions of the Namos show creatures with humanoid upper torsos, legs, feet, and a fish-like lower torso and tail. The Namos are also referred to as masters of the water, the monitors, and the teachers. Dogon mythology states that Namo was the first living creature created by the sky god Amma. Shortly after his creation, Namo underwent a transformation and multiplied into 4 pairs of twins. One of the twins rebelled against the universal order created by Amma. To restore order to his creation, Amma sacrificed another of the Namo progeny, whose body was dismembered and scattered throughout the world. This dispersal of body parts is seen by the Dogon as the source for the proliferation of Bainyu shrines throughout the Dogon's traditional territory. Wherever a body part fell, a shrine was erected. The Namo allegedly descended from the sky in a vessel accompanied by fire and thunder. After arriving, the Namos created a reservoir of water and subsequently dove into the water. The Dogon legends state that the Namos required a watery environment in which to live. According to the myth related to Gryalan Diaturlan, the Namo divided his body among men to feed them. That is why it is also said that as the universe had drunk of his body, the Namo also made men drink. He gave all his life principles to human beings. The Namo was crucified on a tree, but was resurrected and returned to his home world. Dogon legend has it that he will return in the future to revisit the earth in a human form. The Dogon are famous for their astronomical knowledge taught through oral tradition, dating back thousands of years, referencing the binary star Sirius. In the latter part of the 1940s, French anthropologists Marcel Grial and Germain Dieterlen, who had been working with the Dogon since 1931, confirming this theory. Their astronomical information begs the question, how did the Dogon come by this knowledge? Their oral traditions say it was given to them by the Namo. As the story goes, in the late 1930s, 4 Dogon priests shared their most important secret tradition with 2 French anthropologists, Marcel Grial and Germain Dieterlen, after they had spent an apprenticeship of 15 years living with the tribe. These were secret myths about the star Sirius, which is 8.6 light-years from the Earth. The Dogon priests said that Sirius had a companion star that was invisible to the human eye. They also stated that the star moved in a 50-year elliptical orbit around Sirius, that it was small and incredibly heavy, and that it rotated on its axis. Initially, the anthropologists wrote it off publishing the information in an obscure anthropological journal, because they didn't appreciate the astronomical importance of the information. What they didn't know was that since 1844, astronomers had suspected that Sirius A had a companion star. This was in part determined when it was observed that the path of the star wobbled. In 1862, Alvin Clark discovered the second star, making Sirius a binary star system, 2 stars. In the 1920s, it was determined that Sirius B, the companion of Sirius, was a white dwarf star. White dwarfs are small, dense stars that burn dimly. The pull of its gravity causes Sirius wavy movement. Sirius B is smaller than planet Earth. The Dogon name for Sirius B is Potolo. It means star, Tolo, and smallest seed, Po. Seed refers to creation. In this case, perhaps human creation. By this name they describe the star's smallness. It is, they say, the smallest thing there is. They also claim that it is the heaviest star and is white in color. The Dogon thus attribute to Sirius B its 3 principal properties as a white dwarf, small, heavy, white star. The Awa cult. The Awa is a cult of the dead, whose purpose is to reorder the spiritual forces disturbed by the death of Namo, a mythological ancestor of great importance to the Dogon. Members of the Awa cult dance with ornate carved and painted masks during both funeral and death anniversary ceremonies. There are 78 different types of ritual masks among the Dogon, and their iconographic messages go beyond the aesthetic, into the realm of religion and philosophy. The primary purpose of Awa dance ceremonies is to lead souls of the deceased to their final resting place in the family altars and to consecrate their passage to the ranks of the ancestors. The Lebe cult. The cult of Lebe, the earth god, is primarily concerned with the agricultural cycle, and its chief priest is called a Hogon. The Hogon is the spiritual and political leader of the village. He is elected from among the oldest men of the dominant lineage of the village. After his election, he has to follow a 6-month initiation period, during which he is not allowed to shave or washington. He wears white clothes and nobody is allowed to touch him. A virgin who has not yet had her period takes care of him, cleans the house and prepares his meals. She returns to her home at night. After his initiation, he wears a red fez. He has an armband with a sacred pearl that symbolizes his function. The virgin is replaced by one of his wives, and she also returns to her home at night. The Hogon has to live alone in his house. The Dogon believe the sacred snake Lebe comes during the night to clean him and to transfer wisdom. All Dogon villages have a Lebe shrine whose altars have bits of earth incorporated into them to encourage the continued fertility of the land. According to Dogon beliefs, the god Lebe visits the Hogons every night in the form of a serpent and licks their skins in order to purify them and infuse them with life force. The Hogons are responsible for guarding the purity of the soil and therefore officiate at many agricultural ceremonies. The Bainu cult. The cult of Bainu is a totemic practice, and it has complex associations with the Dogon's sacred places used for ancestor worship, spirit communication and agricultural sacrifices. Marcel Grial and his colleagues came to believe that all the major Dogon sacred sites were related to episodes in the Dogon myth of the creation of the world, in particular to a deity named Namo. Bainu shrines house spirits of mythic ancestors who lived in the legendary era before the appearance of death among mankind. Bainu spirits often make themselves known to their descendants in the form of an animal that interceded on behalf of the clan during its founding or migration, thus becoming the clan's totem. The priests of each Bainu maintain the sanctuaries whose facades are often painted with graphic signs and mystic symbols. Sacrifices of blood and millet porridge, the primary crop of the Dogon, are made at the Bainu shrines at sowing time and whenever the intercession of the immortal ancestor is desired. Through such rituals, the Dogon believe that the benevolent force of the ancestor is transmitted to them,